Like every other franchisee, I wanted to go into business for myself, not by myself. When I joined Floor Coverings International, that's exactly what I found in their amazing training and support program. They know what works after decades in the biz and share that knowledge with franchisees. Weekly engagement opportunities, unlimited marketing guidance, and top-notch CRM training are only the beginning. Their training and support program makes it easy for me to scale, become a multi-unit owner, and build my empire. So what are you waiting for? Join the #1 flooring franchise with the most involved franchise support program in the industry.
Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome elite entrepreneurs and empire builders back to Fran Opps Live. And I say this every week, I feel like, but genuinely, I love it. I'm excited. I am pumped and ready for today's. I feel like I've been waiting for today's interview for a long time with eager expectation and anticipation. I hope you have too, because today is going to be a great one. It's one of those promises I made to you as you joined this group, is that you would be connected with and have content from some CEOs of high performing, well proven franchises and brands to put in front of you opportunities that could potentially radically change your life as you help provide needed services to your community. Man, and today is one of those for sure. This is one of our best ones yet. It's going to be, I'm so excited. Hopefully you brought, it's for me, it's 3 in the afternoon, wherever you're at. Maybe you're 4, maybe you're before, maybe you're early afternoon. Hopefully you got your coffee, or if you're like me, you've had too much today, get your tea, whatever it might be, maybe some water. Buckle in, because this is going to be a fun conversation. Because today we're bringing on a brand that has been on here a couple times actually in different capacities, but they are the #1 brand in their space in franchising across the continent. Okay, this is Floor Coverings International, and we've had them on a few times, whether it's with the development side, or we've actually had their highest performing franchisee on before, and some other people have been connected with. And we've actually previously connected individuals from this group and sent them over to Floor Coverings as well. And so this is a great relationship we have with this brand. Very excited for their future. Last time we had them on, actually, they were closer to like a little over 200 units, I think. And now they're nearing, or if not over 300. And so it's growing rapidly. And so I'm telling you, if you're sitting here and you were on this interview, or you saw the interview last time we did this earlier last year, and you're like, man, I really like that concept. Maybe just now is not the right time. I'm going to tell you, you might be too late, because of how quickly and how well they're growing. There's quality to their development that it cannot be surpassed. And so it may be too late, but I promise you, today's a good day to begin the conversation and just see where it leads. But we have the CEO of Floor Coverings International on with us today, Tom Wood. He joined Floor Coverings back in 2005 after previously serving. He served for 3 years as the vice president of their parent company, which we've talked about before, First Service Brands. They own California Closets. Maybe you've heard of them. Paul Davis Restoration, Serta Pro Painters, some major players in the home restoration space, and a number of other brands as well. And so, you need to hop in on this. We're going to talk about this, but they've opened just in last year, 2024, they brought on, I think, 89 new franchisees. And guess how many they opened for operation? 89. It's incredible. So when they bring on a franchisee, they get you opened. They want to get you to success as quickly as possible so you can continue to grow and scale and achieve your goals of business ownership. And like the title of this group says, build your empire. That's what this is about. Tom is one of the greatest dudes I've had the chance to talk to. He doesn't just lead a incredible company and franchise, but he volunteers in his own time, whether it's with orphans or homeless or in third world countries. Man, he just genuinely cares about people. So it is truly an honor of mine to bring him in here to have with us today here. And this is it. This is Fran Opps Live with my friend Tom Wood.
The vision that we have here for Floor Coverings International, on one hand, is very simple. We want to be the very best experience in the flooring industry, bar none of any competitors. Number 2, we want large, profitable, wildly successful, and happy franchisees that are here because they have goals They are here because they want an opportunity, and that are here because they see Floor Coverings International is the best path for that to happen.
Now is the best time to invest in Floor Coverings International for a few different reasons. One, there's territory available. Two, you couldn't ask for a better economy to be launching a home improvement business within. The next 3 years is going to be a really strong time for Floor Coverings International. And three, it's just, now's the time to do anything on your own. Why wait, in my opinion? Get that business launched, get it up and running, and get it on its road to profitability as quickly as you can.
Culture is everything. We're a people company. It just so happens that flooring is our thing, right? And we do it better than anybody else because we've taken the people part of it and made it the primary focus of all of the processes, whether it's our customer or our franchisees. How do we service the people part of it with the processes and all the other opportunities that we have?
We have packaged up a number of ways to drive customer acquisition for our franchisees. So we've made it a really turnkey program for franchisees to be able to come out of their training and really start with appointments on their calendar to have those opportunities in front of customers to help them solve their flooring problems.
Everyone that comes on board, the number one thing I hear from them is that they want to build something for their family. They want to build a legacy. They don't want to work for someone else. And core to that is they want to be proud of what they build, right? So to build a business where they can be proud of it, they can put their name on it, that's what customer service is all about. And so they love that culture that we have. Our NPS scores are second to none. We have the best in the industry as far as customer experience ratings, and we're very proud of that.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome, Tom, to the greatest Facebook group in the metaverse. Truly, I'm glad you're here with us today, my friend.
Thank you, Jared. It is awesome to be here with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. I mean, your videos look so great. Those vans, I put in the chat too. Those vans look so sharp. And that's the benefit of being here with us live, friends. Type your questions in the chat. I'll get them to Tom. But this is going to be a fun one today to kind of hear from you and learn a little bit more about the brand from the head honcho himself. So tell us a little bit, Tom, about how you kind of got to where you are today. What was your journey in franchising to lead you to become CEO of Floor Coverings?
Yeah, well, coming up this spring, actually in May, will mark my 40th year in franchising, believe it or not. When I look back 40 years ago, I got started with our initial business in franchising. It was a company called College Pro Painters. Had my own franchise when I was in college, and coming out of college, learned how to be an entrepreneur at a very young age, and absolutely fell in love with what I like to describe as home improvement franchising.
Yeah.
A few years later, I was one of the founders of Pro Painters, and really was deeply involved with that brand from the time that we were very first franchise all the way up through what we'll call startup. And then, as you did in the introduction, I came here to Floor Coverings International in 2005.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool, man. And so how long have you been in this role as CEO for Floor Coverings?
20 years now. Yep,
20 years.
My 21st year right now.
Well, congratulations. That is incredible. You've seen all the growth from, early days to where you're at today. So give us a brief synopsis then of where Floor Coverings is today in general.
Absolutely. So the thing that we are most proud of right now is, and you alluded to this in the introduction, we are the highest rated flooring company of all flooring companies, not just franchise flooring companies, highest rated flooring company based on customer experience in our entire industry. That is the thing that I and we are most proud of. Yeah. This is a $100 billion industry, very, very fragmented. Runs from the far left. You've got the biggest companies like Home Depot and Lowe's, all the way over to the far right, where we've got the mom and pops that operate in our community. But our franchisees collectively, we are the highest rated of anybody when it comes to that end experience that a customer says, did they value us?
Yeah. My goodness. And that's so true. I've heard that a few times before, because it's not just like you're not just like making stuff up. Like truly, like if you go to Google and you look at like the floor coverings account, you'll find 25,000 Google reviews that are all 5-star reviews, and
That's right.
you're literally putting your net promoter score up there with like the Ritz-Carlton, if not, on that same level, if not higher. And so
yeah, we are one of the highest net promoter scores I've seen of any brand of any kind. So as of Monday this week, we sit with a 12-month trailing average 87 net promoter score. And if you know anything about a net promoter score, once you get above 70, you're in what's really deemed as rarefied air. That 87 puts us in the top 25% of the top 1% of all companies. So we're not even talking economics. We're not talking about whether or not franchisees make money and things like that. What we're talking about is our end consumers. Do they love the experience that our franchise owners deliver? And they really do.
Yeah. Like, and one thing I love about floor coverings is how seriously you guys take when it comes to metrics and measurements, and how do you measure success? So that's one of my questions for you is, can you share with us what are some of those other measurements and metrics that you use to kind of identify how successful you are in providing the services that you do?
Yeah, definitely. There's a few measurements that we use. I'll click off the top couple of them. The one that I mentioned to you, which we look at every day, as a customer experience NPS score. We track that, and we track our Google reviews very, very closely. And then there's another one, which is just how are we performing as an organization when it comes to actual growth and market share and such. We have a standard here at Floor Coverings International that we want to outgrow the industry each year by a minimum 5x. So if the industry grows 5 times or 5 points, we want to grow 25 points. And I'll give you an example of last year. So coming through COVID, I think it's well known, everything home improvement experienced like an absolute boom. I mean, it was crazy.
That's where people spent their time.
They sure did. They couldn't travel. They're stuck in their homes. So why not get new floors or new landscaping?
Absolutely. I'm with you.
And we certainly did as well. However, coming out of COVID, when the world got back to normal, and all of this is in the rear view mirror right now, of course. But 22, 23, and then certainly into 24, what we saw was there was a correction in the home improvement industry, and the big boom that we had during 21 and 22 was followed by a contraction in 23 and 24. So I'll illustrate that. The flooring industry in 2024 was down between 7 and 8% over 2023. We grew 19%.
Oh, wow.
That is a factual, bona fide number that we can absolutely validate. Flooring industry down 7 or 8, we were up 19. That is an illustration of our franchise owners with that really high customer experience taking market share from competitors in what was a tight market. Now, the second half of the year was very different than the first half of the year. So the second half of the year, we were actually up 34%. The marketplace was also coming up. So we were seeing tremendous momentum at the end of the year. And actually through last night, we're up 89% over last January on bookings, or customer jobs that are landed. So the momentum we had at the end of last year is certainly carrying through to January. So that is a metric that we track very, very closely. Then we also track same-store sales growth, where again, we are looking to outpace the industry. And we track very closely new franchisee startup, where we want franchisees pacing to $1 million in their first year and $2 million in their second year. Those are the primary metrics that we look at every single morning.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so that's the kind of the expectation for franchisees, that these are the metrics you can expect to hit, that we expect you as a franchisor to get to in that first year and second year. Love that. What's so different about this? What's so different about the floor coverings model as opposed to some of your competitors? Can you walk us through real briefly what it does?
Yeah. So I would describe the franchising industry, and I'm going to use a cliche here, and I know that there are 3 different levels that we look at when it comes to competing and winning, and the general attitude that a business has. There's playing to play, which is, for example, get a business, enjoy it, do your very best, get a pat on the back. Then there's what I call playing to win, which is you have standards, you have expectations, and you are driving to hit those standards and expectations.
Okay.
And then there's the third tier, which I call playing for championships, which is
Ooh,
you're
okay.
in an organization that says we are the premier.
Yeah.
The difference here, to come back to your question, is what we have done at Floor Coverings International is not looked at this and said, okay, we want just happy franchisees that like it here. What we have said is from top to bottom, we will set the gold standard. We've already described on customer service what that means and customer expectations. But when it comes to franchisee performance, we hold the same high bar. When a franchise owner joins Floor Coverings International, they know very clearly that our floor expectation is a $2 million business. What that means is from the day that you start up, right through your startup and into maturity, your expectations, the performance of a franchise owner, the resources, the training, the support that they get from us, it is for a minimum of a $2 million business. That's our standard.
Yeah. Wow. Does your can I ask? Do you know, with that being the standard, how many franchisees typically on average will hit that mark or have hit that mark, and versus how many have not?
So we set that standard 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we set that standard knowing we were going into a difficult home improvement economy. And as you mentioned earlier, it was just over a year ago that we were sitting with 200 franchisees. So when we set that expectation, we were sitting with 170 franchise owners. We expect that this year we will have anywhere between 60 and 80 franchisees that will exceed $2 million.
Wow.
Doesn't happen overnight.
Incredible. No. Yeah, and it's not just because of the franchisor either. It's got to be a good fit and good work, and it takes hard work. Even with the best brands in franchise, and it takes hard work. You have to have you have to have discipline, you have to have that work ethic, that desire to build something
that's right,
successful and sustainable. You know,
I
like that analogy you use, the difference between playing to play, playing to win, and playing for championships. Because I feel like a lot of people, most people, if I were to say, probably are in that middle park of playing to win.
I would actually say most franchise owners, in my experience, are in the playing to play. Let me go ahead and
tell me about that.
An analogy. So the NFL season just ended. There's 32 teams.
Yeah, as a Vikings fan, I would appreciate you not just stay away from them for now. Okay.
Yeah, we'll stay away from the Vikings. We'll stay away from the Vikings. But you're going to have to get that thought out of your mind. I'm not going to try to. There's 32 teams in the NFL. Do you know how many teams in the NFL finished with a winning record? What would you get?
Like on average?
Yeah, this year, the season that just ended, 32 teams. How many of them had a winning record?
By the end of the season, not counting playoffs, I don't know.
16.
So at half?
Yep, it's half. Yeah. So even at the highest level of sports, only half the teams, and if you go to the NBA, it's less than half the teams right now, have a winning record. In franchising, I would say, in my experience in 40 years, it's the same. 50% of franchise owners and franchisors are, by definition, playing to play. They make their investment, they go to work every morning, but they're not driving for a success level that is crucially important. That is a standard differentiation that both a franchisor and a franchisee have to align and say, we're not here merely to run a business and enjoy putting floors in somebody's home. Those things are crucially important. But we are here because we are setting a higher standard for performance. And in order to reach that higher standard of performance, franchisor and franchisee have to unify and work collectively together on that.
Yeah, I love that. And that feels like that might be one of the best, at least best descriptions of what kind of owners a company might be looking for. Is there more that you would want to speak into that part of the kinds of owners that you guys are looking for as you continue to look into 2025 and beyond?
Yep, for sure. I would say 3 years ago, when we were collectively moving to the standard where we were going to uniformly set the standard at a $2 million business, took us a year to just work through with the franchise owners to get the permission to stand up and say, this is our standard. But from that point, which was 2 years ago, it has taken 2 years of internal recalibrating, if you will, of the differentiation between playing to play and playing to win. By definition, anybody that is playing to win is willing and on a regular basis to take risks and they're willing to sacrifice. Most people that get into something, whether it's a sport or a business or any community service, that are there to play, the differentiation is they're not willing to take risk and they're not willing to really sacrifice. Now, when you are playing to win in a business, you are willing during that time frame to sacrifice fun. You might be willing to sacrifice relationships. And I'm not saying burn bridges everywhere.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
A distinguished choice between, am I going to hit the goals and objectives, or am I going to go and have, spend time with my friends?
Yeah.
The big difference. It took 2 years to recalibrate it here. We just finished our convention last week. I can tell you our network is recalibrated and it is exciting. And that's how, in a marketplace that was down 7 or 8, we were plus 19, because I can say Floor Coverings International is absolutely a play to win organization.
Wow, incredible. And then friends watching now or even at a later date, hang on to the end, because I'm actually going to show you a recap of one of their conventions too, down in Cancun. So incredible. And so hang on to the very end for that though. But so with all these changes that you guys have been investing into these last 2 years with floor coverings, has that changed the investment range? What's it look like to invest into floor coverings as far as a single unit goes?
Yeah, definitely. That standard of what the investment is certainly has gone up as well. I would say on average, we're at $250,000, maybe $300,000 investment, just depending on how much, again, somebody's willing to sacrifice in the beginning. But in return for that, that's a business that you are looking to drive to $1 million from the time that you start up in your first 12 months, and you are targeting $2 million in your second year. It is a fast-paced, fast-growth business, and of course, it takes capital.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's so good, man. I feel like you're dropping a whole lot of wisdom in this group today, and I appreciate that. It's exciting I think it's exciting for these elite entrepreneurs and empire builders for sure. As you have continued to grow, especially over the years, surely you have a number of life-changing stories. I'm sure you have a number of people as franchisees within your system whose lives literally have been altered because of they've stepped into this and they've taken it seriously. Do you have any of those stories that come to mind that you could share with us of whether it's that American dream or whatever it might look like?
Absolutely. So I've been here 20 years. I'm the largest individual owner of Floor Coverings International. So I just say this is all deeply, deeply personal to me. So our Franchisee of the Year award winner last week, a gentleman by the name of Matt Werner up in Waukesha, right outside of Milwaukee in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Started with us as a 26-year-old young man, just over 10 years ago. Had some business experience, but in his own words, very immature in terms of his experience and his learning at that point.
26. Yeah,
seeing the empire that he has built in this past year. Not only does his core business do well over $2 million, but he acquired a neighboring franchise, grew that franchise. He acquired it mid-year, grew at 16% over the year. With only 6 months in the year, and he's a $3.5 million business now, looking to go to $5 million. We have another husband-wife team down in Houston, Texas, Mike and Kim Gustafson. Great franchisees, one of our fastest to $2 million. Got there right at the end of their second year, and then what did they do this past year? They went and acquired a competitor business.
Oh, really?
Wow. $2 million business, and they're trending to a $5 million business here now. This will be their fourth year, essentially. And we've got a guy, actually, he was in one of the videos that you were showing in the intro. I was so happy to see him, Brad Hawkins, up in Syracuse, New York. Not our prototypical marketplace. Just landed an $800,000 job last week.
Oh my gosh!
I can go on and on.
One job?
You're gonna give me. Yep, one job.
Holy smokes, that's crazy. Can you share? Because I know some will be wondering, what are like the typical, maybe not on that one, but like what are their typical margins and average margins on your jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. So our franchise owners typically are landing their jobs with a 45 to 50% profit margin after labor and materials.
Okay.
We look at that in the construction industry, very stable, very consistent. 40 years ago, when I was in the painting industry, our margins were 40%. So these are slightly higher. Very, very comfortable margin range in a home improvement franchise.
Is that going to be the same, or does it differ between B2C and B2B?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much about the same.
But we have franchisees that get into a heavier load of commercial. It might dip down closer to 40%, but still the blended average is 45 plus.
Sure. Wow, Tom, that's incredible. Can you, my last question is, we kind of near that half hour mark. I want to be respectful of your time and our guest time as well. But really, one of my last questions I love. Well, let me ask this first before I get to the very last one. Is you've mentioned a few times kind of the expectations of that 1 million the first year, 2 million the second year, and you've mentioned some of the some other things about it. Is there more that you could share with us about your item 19, or kind of what that looks like for these Empire Builders listening?
Yeah, I think in our FTD it says our top 40% of our franchisees average $1.5 million. Essentially, the gross profit margins sit at roughly 45, 46%. The close rate, and this is the percentage of time that we land a job when we're in a customer's home, sits at about 42%. So essentially, almost 1 out of 2 times that we give a proposal to a customer, they're giving us a job. And we had our most significant jump in close rate this past year of any year-over-the-year time period in a tough home improvement economy. And the really cool thing is now the projections for 2025, 2026 are high single-digit growth in the flooring industry. So I'm going to temper that and say, let's say 5%.
Yeah.
That says we should be 25% growth right off the bat, because that's our standard.
Yeah. Incredible. Super exciting. Amy's in the chat. Our good friend Amy's in the chat, and she's wanting to know what you were up to last week.
We had our annual convention down in Cancun on the beach.
You're looking tan, Tom.
Yep. We bring our franchisees every year. Actually, let me take a half step back. About 20 years ago, I was at an IFA convention, and there was a grizzled veteran that pulled me aside, as I was a new CEO and I had big plans for this brand. And he said, Tom, one thing I want to coach you on. He said, remember, in franchising, most franchise owners only take one vacation a year, and it is generally at the annual convention. He said, you take it on your shoulders to figure out how to make your annual convention, which is business, a family vacation. We said at that moment, we are going to take that extremely seriously. We go to resorts, all inclusive, generally on the beaches in Mexico, because it's the only place in January that can be warm. We have over 93% of our franchisees attend every year. They bring their families. We work during the day. The franchisees come early. They stay late with their families. We have an awesome convention in the middle, but we're in a resort town so people can enjoy it for a vacation as well.
Wow, I love that intentionality behind that, and the literally focusing on your franchisees and their families, and knowing that there's life beyond just work, but that is a big part of it. So I love that. That's incredible. My last question, is if what's your last piece of advice? If you had to give your last piece of advice for anyone on the fence right now, why should an elite entrepreneur and empire builder, why should they consider Floor Coverings International over some of your competitors?
Yeah. Well, there's table stakes. The table stakes are, we're in a home improvement industry, which is always a steady growth over time, essentially meaning it's great year to year, but over time it doesn't go down. That's table stakes. But here's the real one. When you're choosing your organization that you want to work with, are you looking to play, or do you want a championship caliber organization? A championship caliber organization demonstrates year after year after year that they are in it for success for franchise owner and the franchisor collectively. They demonstrate it, and they bring world-class resources every single year. That's Floor Coverings International for sure.
100%. I believe it. I know many of our guests believe it. So friends, if that's you are on the fence and you've been thinking about this for a while, I can't encourage you enough to stop waiting and just start today by putting in the chat, tell me more. I'll send you a message and we'll get a conversation going. And we'll start with you. Where you're looking, territory. Let's see if that's even available. Let's talk about what it takes to qualify. See if this is a good fit for you. We'll begin that conversation with you. You're not signing your name to anything. You're just saying, tell me more. I want to learn, see if this might be the next best step for me and my family and my future. So do that now. Even if you're watching this later, feel free to do that now at any point in time. If you're watching this on a different platform, you can type in, tell me more, and we will reach out to you and we will tell you more and see if this might be the right fit for you in your future. Until then, Tom, I can't appreciate you enough, my friend. Genuinely, this has been a joy and a pleasure for me to have you on and to have Floor Coverings on again. And I can't wait to do it again with another face of this incredible brand. But thank you for being a part of it.
Jared, thank you very much. I really appreciate being here.
Yeah, likewise, my friend. So, and as promised too, I wanted to leave you all with kind of you guys can see the visual of what a little bit of the Cancun conference looked like for Floor Covering. So we'll see you guys again next week. Tom, I appreciate you all. Until then, friends, we'll see you later. Have a good one.
Here we are in beautiful sunny Cancun, wrapping up the launch of our 2024 annual convention.
The only thing that's more impressive than a dreamer is several hundred dreamers working together right now.
The room keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the energy level just keeps rising and rising.
So there's only one thing left to do. It's time to level up.
This has been an outstanding event that is really kicking off what we are envisioning here for the upcoming year.
It's extremely, I think, motivational. It kind of gets that, fire in the belly going.
The degree to which we have a plan before we walk in the door, the higher our win rates will be, the higher our profits will be.
We have spent this week working on leveling up nearly everything that we do, whether it's interactions with our customers, it's the work that we do with the teams, and at the end, learning how we can dig in and really bring Floor Coverings International to the forefront of the communities that we serve.
When I leave here, I feel really excited about what the potential for my future could be.
It's awesome people that come together with a shared vision, part of a community, willing and ready to work together for one aligned purpose, and it has me super excited for both the short term and the medium term for Floor Coverings International.
With where we're headed from a brand perspective, it's going to be awesome. So I'm super excited, recharged, ready to get 2024 underway and get rolling.
It's euphoric once you leave here, and we just want to keep the momentum going, though.
Even though this was the very best convention and absolutely hit our promise of a leveled up experience, we've got to come back and do that again next year. We just introduced